But basically what ended up happening is Aji called me. Well, he left me a message first, a text, I want to call you. And so, yeah, that had happened a few times before, but I thought, maybe something's up. So it was a very nice phone call, but he indicates, John, I just accepted a great job at Maine Medical Center. It's a great opportunity for me. I'm certainly, will miss working with you. But basically, it's a position that I just wanted to let you know because of our relationship that I was going to be leaving the university. And, we'll talk about what your transition program will be to somebody else. And then at the end, and I'll never forget this, I mean, it's indelibly etched in my mind. He said, I think I know someone who is a B donor. My blood type is B, which is can be a little tricky because it's actually one of the trickier, I think it may be the trickiest blood type. And so my wife, I remember, we were sitting on the couch in this one room, and I looked at Kathy and thought, wow, this is really great to potentially have a B donor. And I said, well, who is it? And he said, me. And I lost it because, I mean, essentially what someone's telling you when they tell you that they want to be your donor, they're telling you, I want to save your life. And it just is really, really meaningful. And even though I knew it didn't mean that he was going to be my donor, the fact that somebody I respected so much, that I had developed a love for over time, was willing to do that was just really incredible to me. And as my wife will know, I'm generally not a man not a man who doesn't or is at a loss for words. But I was at a loss for words for quite some time before I could respond to Aji and thank him for, that supreme act of kindness.
Does it feel like that, this person that you've gotten so close to is going to be part of you moving forward?
Well, it's huge. I mean, it's basically huge because, people talk about creating a special relationship, whether it's between countries or between other people. And we always had, a really great relationship. But this just takes it to a new level because, I mean, part of him is in me. And it's just so special that I can't thank him enough for making that commitment.
What would you say to folks who are kind of considering being a living donor and what it means? And you talk about different, across different countries, different backgrounds, what would you say to folks who are considering?
Well, I think what you need to do with a lot of people, and we actually did a really, really good Facebook post to try to end up having some donors too, because the one thing about donation is you don't have to ask anybody to be a donor. In fact, Harvey Meisel, who runs the Living Kidney Donor Network, was someone I've talked to quite a bit, and he basically said, just tell your story. And if people are interested in learning more, they'll ask. And so some people you might tell them, he said, have an elevator speech. And you basically tell them, well, how are you today, John? Well, I'm doing fine, but I just got diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease. It's likely I'm going to need a live donor because I'd be dead by the time that I ended up getting a cadaver donor. And then if people ask, whoa, gee, tell me a little bit more, then you can actually explain to people, because a lot of getting people to consider it is to educate people, because so many people still don't realize that you can be a live donor. Most of the time I would get, oh, gee, who's gonna, so you have a cadaver donor? When did that all happen? And you explain to people that actually the best donors are live donors. We all have 2 kidneys. We only need 1. They've been doing this sort of surgery for 50 years with a really high success rate. The Type of incision which is done is laparoscopic, so you don't need to basically have scarring. And the one thing I try to emphasize then with people is that I say, and you basically become like a first responder because you're in essence saving someone's life by the time when you do that. And most people, once they hear that, a number of people will be interested, and we had a very positive response. But I think anytime you get people focused on the fact that here's a time in life that I can actually make a gigantic difference in somebody's life. I can literally save that life. But a lot of it is just an education process that you have to go through to make sure people understand what the impacts are and how you become a live donor.